That would be history already in the building tonight, as President Donald Trump becomes the first sitting U.S. president ever to attend a Super Bowl game live.
And a judge delivers a blow to Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge, blocking it from accessing Treasury Department information.
Look at this. In 2025, he's at plus 4 points. Look where he was in 2017, his first term at this point. He was at minus 5 points, so he's doing nearly 10 points better on the average. And more than that, as I mentioned, it's not just the CBS News poll, it's the Ipsos poll, it's the Gallup poll, it's the Pew poll. All of these polls have him in better shape than those respective polls had him at this point back in 2017.
A federal judge discourages government transparency by blocking Doge from accessing the Treasury Department's records of the government. Taylor Swift looks confused as Super Bowl crowd booed her mercilessly, and new polling shows a huge problem that's brewing for the Democratic Party. Guys, we got a lot to talk about today, so let's go ahead and kick things off with President Donald Trump at the Super Bowl. But real quick, thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and for sharing this video. So the president attended the 59th Super Bowl with his daughter Ivanka and son Eric. A viral moment happened during the singing of the national anthem. Most of the crowd cheered for President Trump as he was shown on the screen. And since this is the Super Bowl, it had a lot of celebrities in attendance, one of which is Taylor Swift, who got the complete opposite reaction compared to the president. Just listen to how different they were when each of them was shown on the big screen. Taylor Swift was a proud supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris and was one of the most notable celebrities that endorsed her in last year's presidential election, which could explain why the crowd was booing her. Now, it's no secret that the president and the pop star have not seen eye to eye in quite some time. In fact, they've had a very public back and forth with both parties vocally speaking against each other. The president, though, was quick to go on Truth Social to savagely pour salt on Swift's damaged ego. Here's what Trump had to say. The only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. Now, to be honest, guys, the real Super Bowl is happening in Washington, D.C. right now. The game has the Patriots versus the Steelers. A little joke that I got from X there, although it isn't funny that Doge is actually being blocked at every turn, which is a bad look since it should be a priority to provide transparency if we're talking about taxpayer money, right?
Early Saturday morning, a federal judge issued an order temporarily blocking Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing the highly sensitive data on millions of government employees housed within the Treasury Department. The order comes just a day after 19 states' attorneys general filed a request for an emergency temporary restraining order against U.S. President Donald Trump, the Treasury Department, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
We will not stand for any illegal policy that puts essential services for millions of Americans at risk.
In the filing, it's alleged that the Treasury Department was directed by Trump and Bessent to expand access to Doge personnel who were initially granted read-only access to freeze federal payments to political appointees who do not align with Trump's agenda. Legal and constitutional experts say it's a brazen overreach by the executive branch, which has so far gone unchecked.
So in a functioning system, members of Congress, Republicans who control both chambers of the U.S. Congress, would be taking action. Our Congress has failed.
Judge Paul Engelmeyer, who issued the order, says Trump and Secretary Bessent violated federal law by granting such access to Musk's team. The latest in a string of legal setbacks faced by the president. Friday, a judge temporarily halted plans to place thousands of USAID workers on administrative leave. And on Thursday, a judge ruled to pause Trump's federal buyout offer to over 2 million federal workers. Another extended a pause on Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are attempting to consolidate control in a way we haven't seen in the United States. We've seen it in other countries. You can call it dictatorship, you can call it oligarchy. It's not democracy.
It was also ruled that anyone granted unauthorized access since January 20th must immediately destroy all data obtained from the Treasury Department.
And remember, guys, the goal of Doge is to find and solve the fraud, waste, and abuse that our money has gone through. And this judge, who was appointed by former President Barack Obama, shocker, right, is going against the commander-in-chief in exposing these expenses. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. Now, this is something that Vice President J.D. Vance criticized. Here's what he had to say over on X. Quote, if a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general in how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power, end quote. Well, here's something that's funny. The people who are upset about what the vice president said didn't make a sound when former President Joe Biden went against the Supreme Court. This was when he canceled billions of dollars in student loan debt, which was obviously a ploy to try and buy more votes. And of course, on the topic of money, Elon Musk posted this on X, proving that FEMA cares more about illegal immigrants than they do about American citizens. His post said that Doge found out that FEMA sent $59 million early this February to luxury hotels in New York. The payment was supposed to give illegal immigrants access to housing. Elon Musk further argued that this money from FEMA is meant for American disaster relief, but instead illegal aliens are being provided access to high-end hotels. And he also says the clawback demand to get these funds back has already been made. Now, if that doesn't show you that a full audit is needed, then maybe this will. Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri, he exposed some of the spending that's been linked to DEI. Check this out.
Can't really defend this kind of stuff. $45 million for diversity and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $3 million for girl-centered climate action in Brazil. $125 million to racialize public health. $288,000 for diverse birdwatcher groups. USAID, which is in the center of the storm right now, and rightfully so, spent $1.5 billion to, quote, advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. $70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 billion for electric vehicles for Vietnam. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Columbia. Not Columbia, Missouri, or Columbia, South Carolina, the country of Colombia. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. This is what they're mad about.
The Trump administration has already filed a motion to vacate or modify a court's temporary restraining order on Doge. In the motion, Cloud Software Group Incorporated CEO Tom Cross, he had this to say, quote, it is important that high-level political appointees such as Treasury Secretary, Deputy Secretary, Chief of Staff, and Undersecretaries retain the ability to attend briefings concerning information obtained from the data or systems from Treasury employees with appropriate access to the data or systems in order to perform their job duties, end quote. Now, the question on everybody's mind is, what are they trying to hide from us? Now, moving on, guys, something that's not hidden from the public has been the performance of President Trump within just a short amount of time. And it sure looks like he's learned a lot from his first term as he's breaking records this time around.
3 weeks into his second presidency, Mr. Trump is delivering on his campaign promises and shaking up the government. A just released CBS News poll finds a majority of Americans approve of the job he is doing. In fact, he has a higher approval rating than he's ever reached during his first term. CBS's Willie James Enman is in West Palm Beach tonight to lead us off and give us an update. Willie James, good evening.
Good evening to you, Jerika. In the latest CBS News polling, Americans say President Trump is doing more than they anticipated. And this, of course, comes during the beginning of stage of his first term, of his second term, and they like what they see.
As President Trump carries out his agenda with dramatic changes to the government, a new CBS News YouGov poll shows the American public largely approves. 70% of Americans say President Trump is doing what he promised during the campaign. But there's one warning sign. 66% of Americans say he's not doing enough to lower prices.
Donald Trump won the election in large part because of folks saying that they were feeling the effects of inflation. And so that could be a key number to watch going forward.
Lowering costs would take a little bit more time compared to what he's doing with the borders and DEI policies. But for the most part, Americans are happy that they have a president who's doing most of what he promised to do. And he's doing it efficiently with a team that's working around the clock. Now, I'm guessing that these numbers could have been affected by the past administration. The majority of Americans felt that the former president, Joe Biden, really wasn't in charge. And it was pretty clear that he wasn't working for any of us, prioritizing foreign nations and citizens over the people of the country. But how about you guys? Are you satisfied with the way this second term has gone so far under President Trump? I want you guys to watch another live stream of mine where legacy media was exposed. As it turns out, the federal government used an agency to pay Politico millions upon millions of dollars. And California Governor Gavin Newsom has a sudden change of heart as he faced President Donald Trump one-on-one. Make sure you guys check that video out right after this one. As always, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.